So we went out and saw Naked Gun.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy. Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Yo.
You're beat, aren't you?
Nah, it's just gonna be a long day.
Yeah, you're getting pre-beat up.
Yeah. Oh, what's happening, peoples? So
Mic drop.
Yeah, mic drop. Oh, that's the shirt, right?
Yeah, that's one of their shirts.
So we went out and saw Naked Gun, and then we saw this great, amazing documentary on HBO. It's just called Billy Joel.
No, it's not. It's called. I'll look it up really fast. I'll try really fast. It is called. Dun 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 dun. It's not even opening up. It is Billy Joel and So It Goes.
It's two-parter. I didn't know it was two-parters, and then I didn't know that each part was 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's a long doc. And you kind of said you liked the first half better than the second, right?
Yeah, what'd you like?
I liked the first half too.
Yeah.
But I liked the second half as
The second half was good. It was just the first half, a lot of stuff I didn't know, I guess.
Well, I didn't know anything because I've never been a Billy Joel dude. But after watching this, not saying I'm a Billy Joel dude, but hat tip, man. Got a great deal of respect. He's an amazing artist.
You didn't like the Piano Man? Plays the song?
You know, it's one of those things where, because I'm not a diehard, I don't know until I'm reminded.
Right.
And there was a lot of songs that I went, oh, that's Billy Joel.
Yeah.
That I knew and that I kind of, I liked.
I liked him. I liked him from the beginning.
Well, let's get into Naked Gun first, because I told you my notes is very limited on Naked Gun.
Oh, yeah. First, the new Naked Gun replacing...
Leslie Nielsen with Liam Neeson.
Which is hard for me to say.
Especially fast, right?
Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen, yeah.
But I thought it was a good choice.
Yeah.
To give him a comic vehicle.
Because we've never seen him outside of, I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah, and he really does have a particular set of skills.
In that movie, Taken, or are you talking about in this movie?
In his acting.
Yeah. Listen, man. Let's get right to it. Yeah. They were probably, counting me and Andy, 9 people in the theater, and one of my notes off the top was I went prior to this. A part of me had wondered why slapstick comedy like this hadn't been done since Leslie Nielsen. Of course, they had the Airplane movies, which was done by the Zwick brothers or something.
I don't remember who did it, but I like those the best.
Yeah, and then there was the Naked Gun movies. And yeah, I was like, dude, you haven't seen this kind of slapstick since then. But then 5 minutes into this movie, I was reminded, now I know why. And you said it best when you went, it's just gags.
Yeah, it's gags, it's all gags. But there was a story in Naked Gun. There was a love interest in Naked Gun. Do they had a story to make
the chick with the
Elvis's daughter.
Priscilla was his wife.
Oh yeah, it was his wife. Yeah,
and Priscilla Presley.
They had a way to drive the gags. This was just gags.
Yeah, but there was the love story with Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, but it didn't really. Again, I'm not knocking anybody on this because it's a comedy and it is gags, and they try to set up the love story, but I didn't feel like. There was no connection of this story.
The whole thing just felt corny to me.
Yeah.
And I wrote, maybe because we're comics, so we're jaded.
It's supposed to be corny, though. That's the thing. It's supposed to be corny.
Right. But I went, maybe because we're comics and we're jaded, but is it that easy to make people laugh because, I mean, there were people in there laughing hard, howling at every joke. And I went, really? That's that funny?
Well, if we try to do that level of humor, we wouldn't be allowed on stage, I don't think. Here's what I'll say about it. I understood and I applaud them for doing it. But a couple things. One, the best parts of it they've already put out in the previews.
Right.
The part where he goes from being the little girl to to him. The OJ part. And those were already all out there. You know, those are probably the two parts that I go, oh, that was funny. There's a couple other things in there that are funny. But they didn't try anything new. They didn't deepen it. They didn't surprise. That's the thing. I think as a comic, we want to be a little bit surprised by a gag. We want something that, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
We saw everything coming.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was like, the only thing that was a little kind of funny, but it went on too long, that I didn't see coming was Pamela Anderson doing that scat.
The jazz scat.
And it was funny, like, the first maybe one or two times we saw it.
Right.
But I think they went 3 or 4 times, different shots of it.
Yeah, nothing moved me. I think there might have been one moment that was kind of funny to me. Yeah, and actually, I'm telling you, I don't know. It was just like where we were sitting way ahead of us down below. There just was one dude who was laughing like a kid laughs at cartoons, and it was annoying me. At one point, I mocked him, and I laughed and went, ah!
Yeah.
It just was like, are you? I don't know, man.
He probably thought you were really laughing, though, because he was that kind of guy. The other thing that you didn't find it funny, the coffee. There was the coffee scene where everybody drinks coffee now, so they just kept giving him coffee no matter where he was. He was driving in the car, and a coffee cup.
Everything
came
felt
through the window.
like ba-doom boom.
Everything was badoom boom. I was a little bit surprised by the coffee through the window. That one gave me a little chuckle.
Like when he said to Pamela Anderson when she's in his office, take a seat. And she goes, I already have chairs at home.
Well, that set up the part where then she goes, I changed my mind. I will take a chair.
Yeah, she drags the chair up. Yeah.
So that at least, that one, it didn't surprise. I don't think that was blown away by the surprise, but at least there was something there that was somewhat original to the idea of that. I just didn't think that they didn't. Even in slapstick, even in a corny movie, it's nice to be surprised by what the writers have in store for you. And I didn't feel very. I wasn't. There was no. Okay, how about this? All the gags are old gags. Nothing in there really was like, oh wow, that's funny. That got me.
Right.
That was new. That's new. That's a really creative way of doing it.
The funniest moment to me was when the guy was spying on Leslie Nielsen, and he's got the night vision binoculars, and it looks like her, him, Pamela Anderson, Liam Neeson, and the dog are having like an orgy.
And it was funny.
That to me was the
because it was creatively shot.
Right.
So, and again, we've seen some things like that before, but it was a new take on it. So, yeah, that one, I'll give you that. That one was kind of funny. I just wish that there was more new takes. I didn't mind that she took the chair. I think that was kind of fun. And it was a loud chair. It was one of those chairs that makes so much noise.
Right.
I don't know. I hate to say it. I'm not going to say it was a strikeout completely, but there was a lot of strikes and balls in this.
Did you ever see, which I was more entertained by this, did you ever see the movie, Melissa McCarthy was in it, The Happy Time Murders with the puppets?
Yeah, I did.
I was more entertained by that.
That was funnier.
Yeah, especially that moment where the dude the puppet comes in the office and gets jizz all over the whole office.
Because it was a little cruder.
Yeah.
And this wasn't crude at all. This one, they didn't go crude at all.
Yeah.
But this one was a little crude. The Happy Time Murders were cruder, and they were original. But that allowed them some room to be funnier, to do something new and funny.
Yeah.
This just doesn't have anything real new in it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that just really.
That's all I got.
The giant coffee cup was kind of funny when they kept giving him coffee. I think the coffee thing was the thing that I ended up thinking was the funniest to me.
Right.
I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah, I think because, look, man, we're comics, so it's kind of our civic duty to, soak up anything comedy. So otherwise, I would have never spent money to go see this. I'd have waited till it came out for streaming.
I think the other thing that was, I agree with what you just said, but I think the other thing that was different about the original is, like when I said the love interest, who's the original guy?
Leslie Nielsen.
He was so unaware that things were sexual innuendo was happening.
Right.
And they didn't really like that. That was part of the character, and that wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. There's just something that was just. It was creative. The idea was there. I just don't know that they spent the time that I would want to do to really update it to make it today worthy.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can check it out, but check it out on. You can check it out. You won't be disappointed if you check it out on streaming. I did get a good popcorn with a Fantastic Four box that I was pretty happy about.
Yeah.
So that was the upside.
So in this Billy Joel thing, Uptown Girl, Piano Man, Uptown Girl, We Didn't Start the Fire. See, all of those songs, I went, that's Billy Joel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've heard those, and I kind of like those.
I like the Piano Man, but I was probably in elementary school when that came out.
What was interesting about this was I didn't know that it took him that long to get a hit. Like, he had been in the game, he was locally popular, and even when he opened for certain people, he got rave reviews. But Piano Man was the thing that finally
gave him a hit.
Yeah, gave
but
him
just
a hit.
one hit, and they made no money off the Piano Man, which I thought
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. They said they made like $7,000
Yeah.
off the whole that album. Going back before he's on his own, did you like any of the? I actually liked the Attila thing that he did was kind of hard rock. Billy Joel is not connected with hard rock to me.
Yeah.
But I like that Attila the sound from Attila where he was trying to do something that was reminiscent of Led Zeppelin. Did you not?
I don't think I caught that.
That's it. That's at the very beginning because they left the one band that they had at the beginning, which I can't remember the name of.
Right.
And then he did this thing with Attila, and they put out one album. I want to get the album. I want to hear the whole album.
I thought it was funny when they were talking about this Hammond B organ.
That was like the hot organ.
Yeah. And I said, loyalty comes with a price. Those guys, I want a Hammond B organ.
Yeah, because the guy, they were trying to get him to come to another band.
Yeah.
And they said, we want you. We don't need your band members. And he's like, nah, these are my guys. Ride or die. These are my guys. And then he goes, but if you do join us, we'll give you
The Hammond B organ.
And then he was like,
adios.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's actually contrary to that. Because one thing I did like is and now I totally forgot about the organ thing, because later I loved his loyalty to his guys when this one particular producer was like, I want you, but again, I want you to work with the studio guys. I don't want you to have your guys. And I love that Billy Joel's loyalty was like, no, this is the band. We're a family. And those studio guys, because they'll basically play by the book. They'll do everything by the book. But when you have a real band, you have to respect the talent that these guys bring and the cohesion to make us special. And he said, that studio, and he stuck with his dudes. But then, there was this moment where he said, those guys.
But he's a kid.
Organ.
He's a kid.
He's young.
He's younger. And this organ, his ambition is, he's a keyboard player.
Yeah.
And he never had the money to get that organ. And that's
Right.
like the hottest organ. So this was his opportunity. But when he stuck with his guys, let me ask you this question. Are you sticking with your guys because they're your guys, they're your family, or because you like the sound and this is the sound that you want to go forward with?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Because obviously that sound is being generated because of those guys. So, the family, the whole, I think that sometimes that gets overused, the whole, we're like a family. There's got to be more than just feeling like a family. You got to bring it. And if everybody's bringing it and everybody's specially and is uniquely special in terms of what they do, that's why you are who you are.
Yeah, I don't like the term the family too because I'll be honest. I know a lot of families. Most families have issues.
Yeah.
So why do you want to bring that into your business, into your group?
Right.
I don't want a family. I want people I chose to be with.
Right.
I didn't choose to be with my family. We all just showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's more like the studio musicians.
That's why I said, dude, like, whenever I watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, I hate that cliche, they treat you like family here. Again, family don't give you a bill when you're done eating.
And family make you go wash the dishes after you're done eating,
so,
clean the bathroom.
Yeah. So I never, that to me sometimes becomes so cliche. That moment where, he's super tight with, and again, these are the early years of Billy Joel, but he's super tight with one of his guys in the band. And eventually, he his wife.
Now, this is his first band. This is the band that they actually, not his first band, but this is the band they start getting some traction with. Mark, before we go any further, Mark, do you know who Billy Joel is?
Captain Jack.
Okay.
Get you high.
I'm just trying to check. I don't know what your where your musical influence comes in.
I mean, who doesn't know Billy Joel? Come on.
Okay.
Like, and the explanation that they give is that, I guess the guy that was his friend that was in the band, there were times when Billy and his wife were just more cohesive, spent a lot of time talking. They just got each other in ways that the husband didn't with his wife. And this is something I take seriously. I went, look, I don't care. I just don't get how you could f your friend's girl. Like this is such a major no-no for me. I don't care what the situation is. If you my boy, I don't give a f how fine your wife is. I would never entertain that idea. I just, that to me is the most disrespectful. That's sacred, man. If that's your boy, what y'all have is sacred. You just don't cross that line. I wouldn't even want to put myself in a position where something like that could happen.
I agree with you. I do, but I will say a couple things about this. We also learned that Billy Joel isn't mentally as stable as you would like him to be as a person before. Right?
Well, there was that great moment where, he checked himself into a nut house, and then he goes, after being there for X amount of hours, and I saw what real crazy is, I got the f out of there.
Yeah, but
so how crazy are you?
Well, he's kind of crazy. He tried to kill himself. He took those pills that his sister gave him, and then he woke up and thought, I can't even succeed at this, which is funny, in the idea of that. But obviously, he wasn't all. I think there's a through line in this where there's a deep problem with him with love and emotional connection.
Well, I didn't know, anything about the dude, and then, at one point I didn't know this got married 3 times, and at one point I'm pulling for this nigga because the part that hit me is when he goes, "I got $500 million and no one to love."
Yeah, that was 4. He got married 4 times.
Okay, yeah,
yeah, 3 times. And then he said that.
Right, and he goes, "I'm getting older," and I just thought, what a predicament. You got $500 million and no one to share it with.
And you made that comeback too.
Right.
So, we jumped really far ahead. I also do think, though, that the thing about suicide, I want to go back to that really quick. His sister, he says he's having some pain, or he can't sleep. So he asked his sister, who's, I guess, a nurse, for if she could give him anything, and she gave him these sleeping pills. And then he takes those sleeping pills, and they think that he's going to die. They don't know if he's going to make it or not. How that, when you say, not with your best friend's wife, but you also are taking your life, and you're willing to do that, and your sister, she gives you the pills, and you're not even thinking about this is the self-centered part of this. You don't even think about how that's going to affect your sister. She gave you those pills. Don't you think that's going to fuck with her for the rest of her life if you die?
She didn't know that he was going to do that.
But even if you didn't know that, and you're the one who gave him the pills, doesn't that fuck with you for the rest of your life?
Mm.
I'm just saying he was very selfish at that time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, between that and your man's wife. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have some issues that you're working through, though. I would hope that I'm giving him an out because I want to. I want to give him an out in this story because I like who he became, but at that moment in time, he was not the person that he's going to be at the end of this. None of us are. None of us are complete people. We're all working on ourselves, trying to get to be who we should be. I think that's the goal. But he was very dysfunctional at that point.
Not like this is supposed to make it any less or soften the blow. Because when I say he his man's wife, yes, but he came to him and said, "I'm in love with your wife." Again, not that lessens the blow, but I don't want to make it seem as it was just as barbaric as, yo, I just threw it in your wife, and that he said he loved her. Now, whatever that means, but and it goes, when I told my friend that, he was more than devastated, understandably so.
And this was his best friend too.
Best friend. How do you muster up whatever it takes to go, I'm in love with your wife?
Well, again, I'm not giving him a pass on it, but the other part of that is he did stay. They eventually got married. They stayed together forever until he was at a place where she couldn't handle his self-destructiveness.
Yeah.
But so he, I mean, if it is love like that, I mean, how do you fight that though?
Good, man. That's touche.
Because it wasn't like it was just, okay.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't as barbaric as, I just your wife doggy style over the coffee table. See you next week.
Yeah.
He legitimately loved her.
He loved her, and they had a real relationship that lasted a significant amount of time and would have lasted longer if he wasn't as destructive. He was a very destructive person to himself, and that affected others. He didn't see the selfishness of his actions, of how that affected other people around him. And that's going to be a through line through this whole documentary.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, after this, I need to talk to you about Tara, Andy.
Okay.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing, but I was like, I've gone down that road
They're funny
too many times. But
yeah, but like with you, it's funny. With him, it's like you have to be able to execute the joke. Like not the joke, but actually the action too to make it funny.
Okay.
I know that's not your style. She dresses too feminine.
We're gonna go down this route.
Dude, I knew that this was official when I was watching this doc when Nas broke down Piano Man.
Yeah.
Nas, him and Jay-Z, the top two rappers, my favorite. And I went, oh, Nas is breaking down Piano Man.
What really got me, though, when you saw it is the New York connection and the people that he got to be in, the producer got to be in this doc.
I'm in a New York state of mind. Again, another one. I went, that's Billy Joel.
And that's one of my favorite songs.
I love how he described, and he said, all of my songs that I come up with are motivated from my interactions with people and certain moments. And I love how he broke down how he came up with New York State of Mind.
Yep.
It was something so pure about, hey, man, I'm a New Yorker. And it's almost as an anthem for New Yorkers.
It is. But the funny part to me about that emotional connection, and he said he writes, that's why he doesn't do a lot of like high descriptions, like where analogies and stuff like that. He tells the story because that's how he writes, like he talks. Right. So like if he was telling you the story. But the amazing part about that, and the part that he wrote that song, it happened because he took a Greyhound bus from L.A. back to Long Island.
Yeah.
He had already written Piano Man. He already had his album out. He's taking a Greyhound bus home. I always thought that was interesting because he didn't even say anything about it. He didn't say anything about, I'm in a situation where like I want to move back to and we don't even have enough money that I can fly back. I have to take a Greyhound bus.
Yeah.
You think if you wrote Piano Man, you can afford a plane flight to get back home.
Yeah.
And that shows the reality of this business, entertainment business in general, but music business even probably the worst. You have that big album, and the way your contract is written, you are taking a bus home.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting. But if he doesn't do that, if things don't work out that way, he doesn't write that song.
Listen, man, that great quote from Jay-Z, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So it's like all of those in the cosmos and the universe come together to create those moments to give you what we got. And I didn't know that like, yo, you know your shit is huge when it's covered by so many people. And when they showed the montage of artists that covered that song, I was like, this is a heavyweight, man. He's a heavyweight, dude.
But that's the progression. He's a heavyweight now. This is the progression of this documentary. So I don't want to jump ahead because that will be on this part two, not part two of our podcast, part two of this documentary.
You know, before they revealed that his first wife, and I see it now, the name's on the screen, Elizabeth Weber.
Oh, and wait, before you even say that, and she had a kid to get with his best friend.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's just like going to get in the way of his marriage to his best friend's wife.
Yeah.
He's breaking up his wife and his kid. I mean, that's heavy.
He bulldozed his whole house with his but before she eventually goes on to become his manager. But before she becomes his manager, when he's going through the journey and he's not really making any money, she kept going, she kept talking about we during certain times. We didn't make any money. We didn't have any money. And I went, this bitch wrote a single lyric and played a single instrument, but why is it we?
Because she's taking care of him.
Okay, but that's once it becomes, before they got to that, she had said that. But once she became his manager and all of that, I went, okay. Because at first I was like, I just love how women just we, and you ain't doing none of the heavy lifting.
Okay, let me ask you this though: if you work really hard, you're stressed, people are coming at you. You come home that day, she has dinner ready. She sucks your before you go to bed. She allows you to relax. She allows you to be the person to go in and kick ass at the office the next day.
You're right.
Just a little bit of we there.
Yeah. See, I get all that stress, and I don't have that to come home to.
Well, so that's owed. I'm not saying it's owed. It's owed if you want to put a we on it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want it, my husband is out there working his ass off. Yeah, when he comes home, I got to let him know that he hasn't made enough money to pay all the bills. That would be one way to say it. But if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, I think you could put a we on there.
And you know what? This is what I love about rappers. And I told Jadakiss this when I did the Fat Joe and Jada podcast. Because he, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I didn't know it until, Fat Joe is kind of not knock-kneed, but I think, okay, where did we see this? I think it was when the World Series and the Dodgers were playing the Yankees. And Joe goes out to do, because Cube had already done Bow Down in L.A. So Fat Joe does Lean Back. And his knees were kind of knocked and awkward when he walked. And I'd never seen Fat Joe like that. So I was watching the Joe and Jada podcast, and Jada said to Joe at one point something about, the way you walk, you already got the Euro step. And I told Jada, I was like, dude, when you said that, I fell the out. Because one thing that I think comedians and rappers have in common, there's a wit. For you to be able to put bars together, metaphors, punchlines, there's a wit that you have to have mentally. And comedians, we have that wit. Rappers have that wit. So rappers have the ability to say funny because of the wit. But I thought Nas kind of hit it because when going back to New York State of Mind, he said, it doesn't matter your race or your ethnicity. If you from New York, you're from New York. New Yorkers, that New York State of Mind, that song is your religion. I love that he said it's your religion.
Yeah. Just
the wording of that. Like that's why I said it's an anthem. If you're a diehard New Yorker, New York State of Mind, it touches you and it means that much to you. Yeah. It's a gospel. I love how Nas coined that. That was great.
And there's in bodies of music, there's certain people that represent their city or their state in this, New York. But
Yeah.
because he's from Long Island, but he's New York. And he's one of those people. I mean, Billy Joel, but Nas is also obviously one of those people.
Yeah.
And Bruce Springsteen is one of those people, even though he is Jersey. He represents on the other side of the water, man. He represents it like Jersey. These people are synonymous with these places.
Right.
And I thought that was really interesting. Did you have any interest in the other people who were on it? Like Sting was one of the other people talking about music.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting that he came in because I didn't see the connection with Sting.
I gotta stroke my ego for a second. Dude, this is what makes me a genius. Because sometimes I sleep on myself because I go, you know how many people have been telling me, yo, dude, you could do a Jadakiss impression? And I went, no, I just don't see it. And for a long time, I didn't even want to attempt it because I just felt it was not in my wheelhouse. But then I go, sometimes I got to hang around somebody or I got to hear something that makes it click. And once it clicks, I go, I got it. Like when Tony Soprano, I couldn't get Tony as bad as I wanted to. And like I said, my man who was on America's Got Talent, I was listening to him, and I just kept zoning in on what he was doing. And finally, I started to figure it out. And I went, I got it. Jadakiss. When I was sitting there watching him, because I used to try to, yo, Jada, when he talks, it's very different from when he raps. And I go, there's for lack of better words, a laziness to his speed. That's why when he's talking about it, no. I told the nigga if he got with him heavy, I don't give a f from the Bronx and Queens. I battled all of them. That's Jada. And I got it. I got it now. Now I just got to find something funny to do with it.
It was funny though, because the thing that you even were willing to do it on their podcast is what I thought was awesome. When you
I wasn't gonna do it, but then at the end, Joe goes, "Hey man, you got a Jadakiss?" I was like, "Oh," put me on the spot. And I got to be honest, even when I did it then, I didn't think I got it until after I left because I kept practicing, going, it was almost there, but something is, and then I just kept thinking about when we were talking, how he would just lay back and, again, nothing's rushed. It's almost lazy. Yo, man, tell the nigga about the time you was at for the shit with Tyson. I said, there it is. That's it.
Do you think if you were to learn like another language that you'd be able to sound like super fluent in it, like quicker than like a regular person?
You get the accent right?
Yeah, I'd have to really. That low key is one of my passion. I want to learn another. I would love to be able to speak Italian or Chinese. Well, not Chinese. I always, and this is gonna sound up, but again, Italian sounds beautiful when it comes off the tongue. Whatever that is, French. It sounds good. That Asian dialect, that shit just don't sound good to me.
Well, I don't think that you represented it very well either.
But everything sounds like.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That doesn't sound good to me. But yes, I would love to learn another language. I think that's a superpower. Yeah, I would love to. Back to Billy Joel. Oh, incidentally, the Fat Joe and Jada podcast airs next Tuesday on YouTube, so y'all check that out. Yeah, this was the moment again with the producer, and he says, "Love me, love my band." The amount of respect I now have for Billy Joel is immense. He's a New York guy with New York character who tells the guy who produced the Beatles that if you want me, you take my guys. And that's when I said, yes, studio guys can read the notes, connect the dots, and do what's on paper and give you the basics. For Billy, like a true artist, he recognized that there's levels to this and the true magic lies within the talent.
Yes. The thing, though, that I thought was interesting about it is when he talks about Martin, that's his name, Martin, the producer.
Yes.
He says he is going to make it sound like everybody else because he wants to do the same thing. They try to put him with Elton John's band, and he said because he's a piano player, so they're going to try to make him sound like Elton John. He wants his own sound, and everybody finally realizes that his sound is rougher. It has a little edge to it. It has, but what I thought was interesting is that he would rather, and this is what I think makes people a great artist. And it didn't help him in this situation, but it made him become the great artist he was. When he couldn't find a producer, he produced it himself, and the album suffered. It did because he that isn't his area, but he'd rather go out doing what he believed in than having someone else come in and lessen the work that he knows he's available to do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out. I'll make my own mistakes. Maybe it won't be as good as it could if I had the producer who saw my vision, but I know it's going to be better than the person who doesn't understand my vision.
Look, he was the epitome of 10 toes down, man. You know, he died on them hills, man.
Yeah, but there was times late, as we get into this where people come to him with things and he goes, "Nope, I don't want to hear it." And that's you got to be open to hearing it. You got to be at least willing to listen to other people and then make your decision. He didn't want to hear these decisions, as we'll find out as we keep going through this thing.
Trial by fire, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you don't have to sit in the fire.
You don't have to sit in the fire. And you're chanting, burning, and when he got Phil to help produce the record, when it all comes together, it's this guy Phil. Phil was like the Phil Jackson to his Michael Jordan. And I went when he got Phil to help produce the record. When it all comes together, it's so awesome. This is what I love, and I've said this before. I love watching these documentaries like this because I love to see how the gumbo comes together.
Yeah.
And it's like when it starts off with, one piece here, one piece there, and then all these magical pieces come together to give you what is perfection. It's inspiring, man.
I agree, and there's always certain pieces that are going to make it fit better. And he figured those pieces out. And he did go through he went through the producers, through the chain of people. I love the fact that his record company is like, what the f*** is this guy doing? I gave him the best producer and he fired him. I gave him this and he fired him. So
that's like that guy, this dude produced the Beatles, man.
Yeah, George Martin. If you are an artist, and I think this is where it comes from, you will stand on what you believe in.
Right.
And maybe you don't become international. You don't become like this world famous. Maybe you don't get the big yacht, but you get your art form the way you want it, and I think that has something to do with it.
It's Godfrey calling.
You should answer and put him on.
Oh.
Let's see.
Yo, Godfrey.
Yo, man, we were just watching the video. You on Vlad?
Which part?
The one where he was like, "Yo, Faison, you think you could out comedy me, out funny me, nigga?"
You better tell him he's on this pod right now.
Yo, we recording the pod right now. We got you on speakerphone.
Oh, who's this? You and
Andy.
And Andy, what up, man?
What's going on, Godfrey?
What's up, man? God dang, Vlad knows how to corner people, right? Or no? Starting trouble?
Hey, man, listen, Corey and Faison, them can't keep my name out their mouths, man.
Wow. This is crazy.
But I love Aries' style. Aries goes out there and goes, "Throw the fastballs at my chest."
And then the Scruncho thing, and then what is going on? Aries is taking on everybody. You want it, come and get it.
Hey, what made you with the best?
Come on, who wants it? You want to play some games? We can play some games. Say hello to my little friend. Wow, it's getting okay. Is Faison going to jail? No.
I don't know, but he's got a trial coming up.
Boy. But I don't know why FaZe. I thought you and Faison got along.
No, and the crazy part about it is I never had a problem with Faison, ever.
Right.
I never said anything bad about him, ever. All of a sudden, I think when that Tiffany popped off. He, like everybody else, wanted to get into the fire.
Throw some dirt on you.
But listen, we got to get back to this podcast, man.
All right.
All right, love you, man.
Later, guys.
Thanks, man.
Peace.
Yeah. That message is brought to you by Beef.
Dude, but you know, it's funny when he says that. Did you I thought you guys got along. This is the guy who went after Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, said Dave wasn't funny.
I don't get it. Why is Dave funny?
And listen, to my point, I gotta stand on it. You know, about the Ice Cube thing. That's his opinion. If he's entitled to that opinion. As insane as it is, that's his opinion. But it's insane.
I get it, but what did here's my thing. What did Dave do that required him to give out his opinion like that? You were asked a question, that's why you said it.
Right.
Who asked Faison if you thought Dave was funny? And even when you don't think someone's funny, you'll answer it in the way that I think is the correct way. He doesn't necessarily do it to me, but I see the genius in what he's doing. Faison just went, nah, he ain't funny. I don't understand what people think is funny.
Right.
That is a rough way to go down that hill.
Yeah. Dude, I thought Billy Joel was Italian. I didn't know he was Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just swore he was Italian.
No, that's you know what? The reason I love this part is because I've had so many people, like when I was growing up, and I had girls say this to me, like when I was in college.
Thought you were Italian?
No. They said, "Oh, you're Jewish. Oh, you guys make just such good dads." And my dad was never there for me. And then I see his dad was just didn't even. I love the part where they go. Billy Joel has to go find his dad. His dad didn't even. He became famous, and his dad didn't even call him up and go, "Hey, man, sorry I wasn't there for you. Good on you." He just nothing.
Usually the black fathers do that when their kids get famous. Nigga, give me some money.
He didn't even give it. And then to get there, and listen, I'm not saying, because my dad had another family after me too, and there is some things that I see that he did for my brother, and I was like, man, I wish he would have done that shit for me. I'm not mad at him for doing it. I'm happy that he did it for my brother. I'm happy that he became a little bit better of a person. But the fact that he didn't do that for me, you know, you do feel that. And then to see him there, and he's going there, and his dad, you know, he sees his dad and has a new son, and he's doing all the things with that son that he never did for him. And it was a lot more. They were like playing, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're not all good fathers. It isn't in the DNA just to be a good dad. That's something that happens, man. You have to work at it.
Yeah.
But his dad was just not good to him.
And the fact that, you know, later on they show that moment where him and his dad, he brings his dad on stage and they both playing piano. So they both had a love for music and particularly the piano. And you would have thought that would have bonded them, or at the very least. And he said, I always wanted my dad to be proud of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your son is a musical juggernaut, an icon. And he's ridiculously talented, and his father still seemed like, eh.
No, he's an excellent pianist. Man, the way he plays that piano is ridiculous. And if you watch, he doesn't even have big hands. I don't know if you noticed, but he doesn't have, like most pianists have like hands that they can get all the way across. He just moves, man.
He's Jewish. Jews don't have big hands.
And like I have normal size hands, but you know what I don't have? My fingers are shorter. I got stubbier fingers. Dude, your hands ain't that much bigger than mine, if bigger at all.
Makes it easier to count money.
This sheep just ain't flying all over the place.
Man, listen, and look, this is a testament to when you have talent. You can snatch Christy Brinkley.
He was also funny. That was the other thing. Talent and funny.
Because he's not like
he's
a
not
young John Travolta. Nigga.
No. You know, he did look when he was a little younger. There's not all the time, but there's some times where he looks a little like a Michael Keaton.
I can kind of see that,
but not when he was older. When he was younger,
Right.
There's a little. Yeah, we didn't talk about him him and his other wife getting divorced after his motorcycle accident, but Christy Brinkley was pretty amazing. And you know what?
She was well, who was more the it girl in that era, her or Cindy Crawford?
I think Christy Brinkley got more attention. Cindy Crawford, I think, was a little bit later. Maybe not. Maybe just within a few years. But Christy Brinkley, she was she was earlier because she's in Vacation.
Yeah.
Cindy Crawford comes later, and she's in her own movie. I think Christy Brinkley was at that time, but I also heard, in the doc, Elle Macpherson was kind of playing for his attention.
Right.
And Elle Macpherson was hot.
And Whitney Houston was there.
I mean, but Whitney Houston was really young and little,
Yeah.
so but she sang that's an interesting thing about life,
Yeah.
that she's there on her first modeling gig, and she says these girls are all like trying to get his attention. Then she walks over and she goes, "I can sing too."
Yeah.
And then she sings, and they're all like, "What the,"
Right.
And so, but it's funny how life converges, and that was wrapped up in that one, all in that same moment.
Yeah.
But like Elle Macpherson, for that time, she's hot, and she's Australian. She has a little accent. And he went Christy Brinkley.
Trying hard not to go down the racial road.
Go ahead.
They said, he's there, and the girl's doing this model shoot on the beach, and all these hot models with these gorgeous bodies. And I mean, ass as flat as ironing boards. This is where I go, white people, y'all just set the standard for what it is, and you think that's it. But when you say body, you have to have something to say body, to complete the body. You have to have some booty, man. I'm not saying your breasts got to be huge, but you got to have something.
But again, standard. I mean, you're like, it needs to be like this. And then white people are going, oh, I like this. It's just different styles.
All right.
I don't have it. Frankly,
I just think you got to have some ass.
I think you should have some ass. But for my point of view, I'll take no ass if the girl is right. I'll take a lot of ass if the girl is right. The ass is the bonus. The boobs are bonus. The face is bonus. You got to have the right person.
It's just like getting a car with no features.
You get the features on there. Like I told Tara Minnick, I gave her a hard time about not having ass. She's been going to the gym. She got a little. There's a little. The acorn has sprouted a little teeny tiny.
It's like watching her go through puberty.
Yeah, it's amazing. But like to your point though, that's what the style was back then. There's a very funny interview with not Christy Brinkley. You said Crawford, where that was the look for so long, and that was the European look, that was the Vogue look, the French Vogue, the Italian Vogue, the American Vogue, and there's this thing where she's talking about Beyonce. And she said something about not Beyonce, J-Lo, and said something about her butt, and said, she just has, and she's very proud of her butt. She loves her butt, but I just couldn't imagine having a butt like that. What do you, and to her, because what was sought after, that just seemed way out of control.
Yeah.
And J-Lo looks, even now, it looks amazing. But I mean, then when she was younger, at that time, there was nothing wrong. There was nothing too big about that butt.
Yeah.
But it was, like you said, though, that is the perception that Vogue wanted. But you know what? At the same time, there's a pushback because Europeans and Americans thought that it got too skinny. They did think it got too skinny. So you are right in what you're saying. You have to have something.
Yeah.
You can't look childlike.
When Elizabeth, his first wife, her brother, once she decided to step down as Billy Joel's manager, and her brother took over, come to find out he was robbing Billy Joel. And Billy Joel, at one point, somebody said to him, how could you not have money? You've made all these hit songs and records, all this touring. How could you not have money? And Billy fought so long to not believe that this guy was screwing him because he felt like he was a brother to him. Come to find out he was screwing him, and he sues him for $90 million. And I go, when you sue somebody for $90 million, how likely is it that you actually get that?
You're not getting $90 million back. The guy lost the money buying racehorses
Damn.
and apartment complexes that I guess failed. And he claims that he was doing it as an investor for Billy Joel. But I think you need to keep your client abreast of what's happening, whether you're making money or not losing money. But that's Billy Joel's fault too. Every year or every 6 months, you should be getting a report back on what your money's doing. If you have someone else working your money, you should get a report to know that if your money is getting healthy or is it getting sickly. And he wasn't asking for that. He let it go. So I put that on Billy Joel a little bit. And, then there's Christy Brinkley, who's married to him now at this time. And she's trying to tell him, and he's like, he's mad at her.
He said to her, I trust him more than I trust you.
What was really interesting about this is the Christy Brinkley thing. That I really felt how much she loved him, because when she's talking about it after all these years, she's crying, like she's tearing up. You could tell that emotionally she still has all those feelings to the connection she had when she was married to him.
I didn't know his love life situation, but I did know at some point he got with Christy Brinkley. I didn't know that that's why when they got to that part of it, I was like, is he still married to her? Because she's doing the interview, and come to find out they have a kid. They eventually get divorced. Then he gets with another chick, and then they last for so long. And that's why I was going, I'm pulling for him, because I could see dude's getting older. He believes in love, but obviously he's not successful. And at one point, Chrissy was like talking about he's on the road so much. He's hardly ever home. We got this big mansion. At one point, he was talking about her coming on the road with him. She tried it, but when the shows are over, he goes to hang out and do what a lot of entertainers do, so she wouldn't see him. So eventually, because she goes, I thought we would have a big house filled with love and this and that, but it's just me and my daughter.
In the big house.
In the big house, and I'm lonely. And this is where I know you tend to be more grounded than I am.
Well, and he's drinking a lot at this time.
Yeah, but I go, I just don't get how you're married to a musical juggernaut, an icon. You have everything that most people dream of, and you just walk away from that because he's working. Make an adjustment. Figure out how to make that work.
Well, you say he's a juggernaut, but it goes back to the we part again. And Christy Brinkley was already successful. She had her life set. She didn't need him. His wife, who built that business, that management company, she built herself into a successful, entrepreneur. She didn't need him. What she needed him for, and this is where I think you miss it, that what you need someone, it's nice to have all those things, but what you really need another person for is to be your other half. And that's what's missing. And he wants his other half.
No doubt. But I'm just going, look, when you take these vows that say for better or worse, why does it always seem like people say that and they take the vow, but when the worst comes, they bail? And there are people that bail for a lot less.
Yeah.
So when you got that much on the table, who he is, what he provides, his talent, figure it out.
But it's also his drinking was the problem. He when he would come home, he would go to the bar, and she said she woke up that this is towards the end of the relationship. She wakes up, he should be in bed, he's not in bed, and she has to call around looking to see. And I love the fact that she didn't call to talk to him. She called and she said, is he there? And she called a bunch of places. Then she goes, is he there? And they go, yeah, he's here. She goes, okay, don't say anything to him. I just wanted to make sure that he was okay. I needed to know where he was. Thank you. And hung up the phone. And that was okay. She was good knowing that he was safe. But the problem is now he's getting into car accidents. He's drinking. He's trying to drive home. These are problems. And this isn't the first time. That's how he ended his first marriage, because he got in the motorcycle accident while he was drinking. You can't be drinking and driving a motorcycle. There's people that can have a beer and then drive a car. I get that. I don't think you should chug a beer and then get in the car. But I'm saying, there's people who go out, they'll have a beer, have some food, and they'll drive home. I don't think that I ever would agree with having the beer an alcoholic drink, having some food, and then getting on your motorcycle. It's too dangerous because if you slip up for even a tenth of a second on a motorcycle, you're. And so that's his first one. That he's gotten to like 3 motorcycle accidents while he's married to Christy Brinkley. They have a kid. You're saying for better or for worse, and I agree with that. But if someone's checked out and they're not there because they would rather be drinking, they're not there for the kid. They're not thinking about. And this is where Joel gets selfish. When I said this through his whole life, and whatever his insecurity is that made him do this, you're not thinking about your kid. You're not thinking about if I die, I'm going to leave them and I'm going to leave my kid. I'm going to leave my wife. When you say for better or for worse, but you have to put in some of the better into that. And to remove yourself and not be so selfish that you're not worried about your kid, that's on you. I think that's on you. There's a lot of things that I am willing to fuck up in my life. I'm not willing to fuck up my kids.
Yeah, no, that's point well taken. Yeah, I don't know. I hear you. I just, Well, something else that they said in this, that, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's just the reality. Love fades, man. It fades.
Well, love doesn't fade. Lust fades. Attraction fades. There's something about being, when you first meet someone, and, this is a little bit of within that joke that I talk about right now. You, especially as a man, you want them goodies. And those goodies are worth making you do anything for that. And that's lust. That's not love. Love is the fact when you can sit there and sit on the sofa together, touch your hand, the hands touch a little bit. It's not about sex. It's about that connection where watching a movie and just sitting together for a few hours and sharing a meal means more to you. That you would take time out to do that rather than having to have something to do. I mean, I'm very pleased in my relationship, and I don't know that it's the right way to do things, but I'm happy with what we do. But I'm happy when I get to be home and we just get to we get a pizza, a glass of wine, or an iced tea. I don't care what it is there to drink, and a movie. I feel lucky to have someone that I can share that with, that wants to watch the same movie with me. Maybe our hands touch while we're watching it. A little kiss. Just in a closeness. That's more. That means more. That's and if you can't get that, because the other person is trying to fill that hole and they're out not giving you that, but they would rather go drink with their friends because there's something wrong, and there's always been something wrong with him, and you have to be there for the other person. It's a partnership. I just don't see any way you can do it. He's selfish, and selfishness is actually what makes people successful. But there has to be a balance if you want someone in your life.
Well, when he got with his third wife, who was obviously way younger than him, and you could feel there was this moment where basically she's like, she wants to go out to the city and mingle and do this and this.
She wants to be a socialite.
A socialite. And he's like, I just want to be home and chill.
Yeah, he's getting to the point where now he wants that.
Right. And it's like, you knew right then and there, oh, that ain't going to work.
No.
That ain't going to work. Because
that's not her mode. And
right.
she wanted to build it. She wanted a career. She wanted to be successful. This is the other thing that people don't, if you marry someone successful, and you're the successful person, you need to marry someone who just wants to glom onto your success and stay home if that's what you want at that time. This girl wanted to go out. She wanted to be part of the community. She wanted her own success. She wanted achievements. And I think that one ended very quickly. And I think that it ended for him very quickly. I think it was over for him before, because when she said, he goes, do you want a divorce? And she said,
no, they're eating.
Yeah.
And she just says to him, Billy, I'm not happy. He goes, you want a divorce? She goes, yes. He goes, okay.
Yeah, I think he knew.
So matter of fact.
Yeah, because that one wasn't. I think when he fell in love with his first wife, when he fell in love with Christy Brinkley, I think those were real, strong emotions that these people became intertwined in his life. But
right.
For whatever reason, he has to go. He's covering it up with alcohol. Then he goes And with this one, I think he got to the place where it wasn't just the alcohol. He wanted someone at home, and then that was a miss. That was a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
And he's going through this alcohol phase, and he's drinking too much, and now he's being made fun of, and that's the other thing that bothers him. He is a very emotional person. He takes the shit seriously that the public says about him. I don't understand that, and maybe because I'm not famous like that, where everybody in the world knows me. I get people that on me all the time. I don't give a, but I don't have a national magazine saying it about me. Maybe if that was the case, maybe I would feel different.
Yeah.
But what do you feel? You get that? You've been on before. Does it affect you personally?
I can't lie and sit here and go, no, it doesn't. I mean, listen, I don't know. When I hear people go, it don't bother me, I don't ever really believe that. Maybe it doesn't bother you to the degree where, it's going to up your day, but I think it affects you even for a second. It has to have some effect on you a little bit, no?
Well, when people come up to me after shows and they tell me that was great, I appreciate that. When I read or somebody says something like you were terrible, or you have no whatever what it is, I don't appreciate that. Equally, the same way they're equal opposites. Where I appreciate it, but I take it with a grain. Like, I appreciate you liking me, but I take it with, like, you're one person. I don't know what that means. And I appreciate it that you found it entertaining or meaningful, and you told me. You found it meaningful enough that you were willing to come tell me. But when people don't like you, it's very easy for them to write out something that they don't like you, or come up and say, this doesn't work, or whatever, or why you're wrong. But I think they're equal to me. If there's a middle line, those are both like that far apart. I don't take them both. I don't internalize them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Initially, when you hear it, or when somebody says something, there's a little bit of a pop. But then as time goes on, and you put certain things in perspective, it goes away. That's why I'm gonna find a way to put it in my act. But it's a gem. When you go, yo, dude, you dropping gems. I think that's a gem, a bar. When I go, look, man, when people go, blah 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 blah, unfollow, dude, you're one person out of a gazillion people that dig me. So again, don't think that just because you get out the water at the beach, the sea level changes. You're not that important. You know what I mean? So yeah, listen. It's funny because when I look at the comments on Vlad or anytime somebody says something about me, when they go, I say it's always cliche. They attack you funny. It's like a woman. It's the lowest you can go. It's the what's that? Hackiest you can be. It's like a woman attacking a man's manhood, but you got a little. Again, you was with me for 10 years, so that can't be the case. That you can't be unhappy taking the same for 10 years. So, but people love to attack. You're funny. Man, that dude ain't funny. I'm one of the funniest in the game. So when I realize that, and I see the reactions I get when I do my thing on stage, and my ability to be quick and the crowd work, and that's a tool that a lot of people don't possess. And I'm one of the people that possess it and do it well. So yes, it bothers me when somebody shits on me, but I also go, nigga, is that the truth? Are you not funny? Is that the truth? No, it's not. So be done with it.
Well, for me, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not funny to you. I can accept that. I have other people that I'm funny to. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in that situation. I don't know how to do it. I had a lady come up to me last night at the end. You were with her last night. She was a problem anyway, but she comes up and she goes.
The woman with the hat?
Yeah, she comes up and she goes, your comedy is very heavy, and it affected me deeply. And I go, comedy's supposed to affect you deeply. You have a good night.
You should have said, the drugs you on are affecting you deeply.
But I don't have a concern for it. I mean, I really don't have a. But I don't know if music is more personal. And I think though, and this is what I will say about Billy Joel and why maybe this is. When you say I write from my heart, I tell the stories the way in my voice, and they're kind of I can't even say
Autobiographical.
Thank you. His songs. So maybe it's more personal because of that. Maybe like my jokes, when I used to get mad about it when somebody didn't think of something was funny, because I do tell true stories and I try to twist them to make them funny. Yeah, sometimes I felt it in the beginning. I don't feel it that way now. I really don't, because I know that it's meaningful. I do like being meaningful as well as funny. I think I like people taking it with them. I love people taking it with me on their way home. And I think that lady last night, it was heavy and it affected her good. Maybe she'll get something out of it. Maybe she'll stop drinking on her medication. She won't f up people's shows.
Listen, that clip, and for a minute there, I thought Matt Rife got so big that this forgot about me. But then when I did the Byron Scott podcast, and I defended, and I was talking about how great Matt Rife is, and for the reasons he's great, he liked it, and I said, oh, and I joked with him. I said, nigga, I thought you forgot about me. He said, never, champ. But it's like, even when people go, yo, Matt Rife ain't funny, and I sent you the clip of Mark Maron, basically calling him a hack because of the crowd work, and I go, this is selling out arenas. So, okay, he don't make you laugh. To whoever feels that way, tell that to the thousands of people selling out at the arena.
Well, I understood Mark's point, but I will say that I think Mark's point was limited, because I like Mark. I like his comedy. I think it's very personal, and I like how he takes his insides and he puts them outside, and I appreciate that. I think that's very great. I love honest stories. I came up on Richard Pryor, and his stories were his true stories that he made comical and somewhat comic book like. The way he told his stories. Mark, though, to say that, and I understand the point that he goes, yeah, if you think it's funny, he's selling out state, whatever. He goes, but I'm not lowering the bar on comedy to that point. If that's what other people want to do, that's fine. That's their choice, but I'm not going to do that. That's mine. And I agree with him. That's his point. But what he did say in there that bothered me is that he said, well, his act, other than the crowd work, and he goes, he doesn't have an act. Mark said that.
Which is
no,
not true.
That's not true. And that's what bothered me about Mark, because
Right.
Mark, I know you're not listening to our podcast at all, but the point is, he does have an act. And when you said that, it felt like you made a decision without really knowing what he does. And now I know you've seen him out. You've probably seen him somewhere, and yeah, you saw him doing a bunch of crowd work, but that's because the audience kind of puts him in that position. But when you go to his shows, he does a set. He lets people know that they'll have a Q&A after, and that's where a lot of the crowd work happens. Some of it happens inside because he's defending himself. Now, the crowd work clips sell tickets.
And let me just go back a second. Even when he goes, I'm not going to lower the bar on comedy, that's a subtle slap, though.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Because when you say, I'm not going to lower the bar, so then what are you saying about Matt? That he's lowered the bar?
No, well, that's what his opinion is, but there are people who just go up there and do crowd work and don't really put any effort into their comedy, into their set.
Then you should say that.
That's what he implied.
I know, but when
he
you
was talking to other comedians, so that's what he implied. I think most comedians would have grasped that. But you're right. There's other people listening to this who don't. That was his point. But Ian Bagg does a whole set of crowd work, and I didn't hear Mark bring up Ian. And Ian's a great comic that has a good connection with the audience. He has plenty of jokes. He has plenty of things, and he didn't say anything about that because Ian's never had stadiums selling out, and Rife has. So I don't care what you say. There's a little envy in the fact that someone has taken that form and has been able to maximize it, because there's plenty of comedians that he didn't say anything about, and that do work like this, and because they haven't, there was no need to on them.
Let me ask you something. What is the number one goal when we touch that mic?
See, me and you are going to have a little difference. Mine is to be funny.
That's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So if the job is just be funny, and that's what you're doing, what is the problem? What's the problem?
Because there is an art form to this.
And crowd work is an art form.
Yes, it is an art form. But the way Mark was looking at it, his whole set was crowd work, and his whole set isn't crowd work.
Okay, but even if it was, your job is to go up there and make people laugh. It's not to be serious. You're not doing a lecture. You're not teaching a lecture. It's to make them laugh, period. That's it. So however you accomplish that, listen, I'm not a Carrot Top fan. I don't like the props. I don't like that. I'm not a puppet guy, or what do you call it? Puppet guy.
Yeah.
But if and when I saw the documentary on Jeff Dunham, you know what? Respect, because the job is to be funny. That ain't my cup of tea, but he's doing his job and he does it well. Carrot Top, that's his job and he's doing it well. Okay, so
the artists are. If you're an artist, you don't allow the audience to define the art form. That's what Mark is saying. There's an art form to this. It's a different. He has his opinion on what the art form is. I agree with his opinion on the art form, and his opinion is, the audience does not get to define the art form. And I agree with what he's saying. I don't like how he singled out Rife on this, because I do think he's different than that. I do see the comedy that he has. I do see the set that he has. He just doesn't walk into a comedy club or to a theater and just start going, "Hey, where do you work?" That's not what he does. So if that's not what he's doing, and that's how he defined him, I have to disagree with what he said. I understand where he's going with it, and I don't think that the audience gets to define the art form. I think that the comedians get to define the art form. But I think that his other problem with it is that people are using this to sell tickets instead of they're more worried about getting likes and views on the internet so that they can sell tickets rather than putting their effort into being the best funny comic they can be.
I'm going to go back to envy. You used the word envy. And let's be honest, and people ain't going to want to admit this, and I said this on Byron's podcast. Look, man, Matt's white, he's male, he's funny, he's successful, and he's good looking. A lot of envy there because he's got it all. He's funny, white, man, and he's good looking. And a lot of dudes hate that about him. This pretty can make my laugh and get wet. They don't like that. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think that's the part that Mark had. I think it's the part that...
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that.
No,
we don't know what's in Mark's head.
No, I don't know, but I
That
know...
motherfucker
I do...
also did a podcast. Like,
Well, that
his claim to fame wasn't necessarily stand-up.
it wasn't
His biggest
stand-up.
thing he's done has been his podcast.
Well, you can't.
At
You
least
say that,
Crowdwork
but
clips is comedy.
no. But he had plenty of specials before that. He was a touring comic. Mark had a career before the podcast, but the podcast is really what gave him
And now
more,
he's appearing
more
in
fame,
movies.
and more fame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not here to defend Mark. I think he's wrong on what he said about Rife. I think there's been plenty of comics that have made a career out of Crowdwork. The problem that he's mad that he might be manipulating the art form into a place that Mark doesn't like it.
But listen, the art form will always tell the truth. So, fine. Let all those comics that want to do that because they get weeded out.
Yeah.
They don't last.
Yeah.
The art form will always tell the truth. And again, it baffles me that people don't understand. It's like, why do you, this should be an instinctive common knowledge. Look, man, I said it before. You don't give away the key of cocaine for free. The crowd work on the social media is a sample of the coke.
Yeah.
And once the viewing audience sees it on their phone and they go, this guy's funny, I'm going to go see the show. Now they pay for the key.
Yeah, now they pay to see the museum pieces.
So why, I don't understand why people, it almost infuriates me when I read that. People go, man, does Aries even tell a joke? Why does this guy only do crowd work? Are you that dumb? I got to tell you this?
But see, this is where Mark's other point comes in. If you see someone that's just doing crowd work and then you go to their show and they do crowd work, then they think that that's what this art form is, and that's not what it is. So that's why I said I understand. You know, one of the things that I think is missing right now is because social media has taken over and become the gatekeeper for comedy. There is no gatekeeper. So if there's no gatekeeper, there's no one to go, listen, man, you're great at crowd work, but you need to work on your set, man. You need at least if you're going to do a half an hour of crowd work, you need a half an hour of comedy, of a set. There's no one to say, what's left? Jamie at the Laugh Factory? Who else is left? Who else were the gatekeepers of comedy? That's all fading. And what do most people want at their comedy clubs? If it's up to the Improv, and I'm not shitting on the Improv, but it's a business model. It's not it's not like it's not a comedy cellar. It's not a comedy store. It's the Improv, and they're based on famous comics and people coming in to see these great comics. Yes, they have another upcoming group of comics, but that's what it's based on. So when they're opening up in cities outside of LA and New York, I mean, people are coming there to see these famous comics, and they need people that sell tickets, or the business model doesn't work. So there's no gatekeeping in that. So yeah, that's why there's comics. And let's be honest, and I'm defending Mark a little bit, but I think this is a bigger picture. There's comics that everybody knows they only have 10 or 15 minutes of material, but they got big on social media. So they come in and they do a show. They don't do what's comedy? An hour, right? You're supposed to be able to do an hour to be a stand-up comic. That's like the standard of being a good comic, that you can hold an audience's attention for an hour. These guys have 15 minutes, and then they have other people come in and they basically host the show, but they sell tickets, and that's not where we want. He is speaking up now before our industry moves into just selling ticket model and not an art form. That's what he's saying. I think he picked the wrong guy to go after on it, because I think Rife is better than that. I understand when you watch people that stop working on their material and are doing crowd work.
I'm in a New York state of mind. There it is.
Is that the hour?
That's the hour. That's hour 15.
Check it out. We didn't even get to the very end of Billy Joel. Billy Joel's doc is great. I would do it in. I wouldn't do it in one sitting. I would get a bottle of white and a bottle of red,
and drink the white on the first half and drink the red on the second half.
And separate days. Take it in 2 days. Enjoy it. Savor it. Don't guzzle it. Sip it.
And get a pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never had wine with pizza.
You never had wine with pizza?
No.
Oh, man, there's some good wines to have with pizza.
Jesus, man. Your palate is nuts.
I've worked at a wine shop, man. I had almost every job. Let's get some dates. If you really want to try something interesting, it's a cheap wine, and it goes well with pizza. Try Lambrusco.
Lambrusco?
Yeah, slightly effervescent. Doesn't have to be an expensive bottle. Little woody taste in there.
Sounds like a huge Turkish man.
No, Lambrusco. Where's these dates? Dates. All right, here we go. We got the new routing. Ari Spears, new routing. That will have already passed. This is going to be, hey, man, if you're listening to our podcast now, you still have time to get tickets to Tacoma Comedy Club in Washington. We're going to be there August 22nd through the 24th, followed by August 28th through the 31st. In between there, I'm going to go see my, no, it's not important. August 28th to the 31st, we're going to be at the Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia. I'm very excited to go back to Philly. September 5th through the 6th, Hartford Funny Bone in Manchester, Connecticut. September 12th through the 13th, we're going to be at the Funny Bone in Kansas City. That is on the Missouri side. September 18th through the 20th, Hyenas in Albuquerque, New Mexico. September 25th through the 27th at the Stress Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut. October 3rd through the 5th, we're going to be at the Funny Bone in Orlando, Florida. And October 9th through the 11th, Skyline Comedy Club out there in Appleton, Wisconsin. October 17th to the 19th, Funny Bone in Tampa, Florida. And October 24th through the 26th, Dos Lagos in Corona, California. Finish it up with October 30th through November 2nd. We're going to be at Cap City Comedy Club out in Austin, Texas. You got anything?
I'm in a New York state of mind.
Did you watch the Billy Joel special, Mark? No, and he didn't make it to see the movie with us because he up his court dates. Is that a show?
That is a show. Yo, that's a show, nigga.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.